So Shalimar was inspired by the Queen and the King. Bonjour fragrance lovers, welcome back to my channel. In today's video and in this very pink atmosphere, we're gonna talk about Guerlain. This is something that I think I want to do more regularly, as talking about a house and their history and heritage, because once you start to learn the past, you get to know more the future. And if you love fragrance as much as I do, I'm sure you will enjoy to go at a dinner and talk about your scent of the night with something else that has their Tonka inside. That's why for me I cherish those heritage and I want to share it with you. And at the end I will also show you my top 3 or 5, and I'm not too sure yet, of my favorite Guerlain fragrances. So if you want to see that straight away and you don't really need to see all these heritage storytelling about Guerlain, you're more than welcome to go to the description and you've got a time slot when you can directly go to the list if you like. Right, so let's go directly to the story. So first of all, what is Guerlain? Guerlain is obviously a French house, really well known, and it's one, I would say, most emblematic house of France. So that's why I started to decide this discovery of the house with Guerlain. I saw it's an amazing start for us because it's part of our history. So the house of Guerlain was founded in 1828 by Pierre-François Pascal Guerlain. So that's a very long name, and you're going to see it's going to be a bit confusing in the name. So remember that, Pierre-François Pascal Guerlain. That was the first generation of the... So you need to remember that the house of Guerlain was run by the family itself until 1994, and then after it got took over by LVMH. But I'm going to show you that this is not really affecting, I think, the quality because of some reason that I'm going to explain to you after. So the first boutique was a perfumery store created, and it was in Rue Rivoli in Paris, the 42 I think. So Pierre-François was created fragrance with his 2 sons, so that was really a family business. And this is something that, if you've seen me talking about perfume and what they were doing before, they were actually like always with their family, and it was really a family business. So his 2 sons or Aimé and Gabriel, and they're working all together. So during those years they started to have a very huge success amongst the high society. So it was really for aristocrat or someone that has a bit more money to go to Guerlain and have a fragrance. That's why in France the idea of fragrance is extremely linked to luxury more than anywhere else. So they built their first flagship store in Rue de la Paix, and if you don't know, Rue de la Paix is the most expensive street in Monopoly. So you can really see that the success is growing, and the peak of the success is in 1853, because that's where actually this is started to go more to the royalty with Napoleon. Guerlain created the Eau de Cologne Impériale for Napoleon and the Empress Eugénie for their wedding, and at their wedding they decided to decorate the bottle very differently, and they decorate engraved little bees. And why bees? Because at the time the bee was a symbol of the Empire of France, so that's why it always stays in, and then after it become a symbol of the brand, but at the beginning it was the symbol of the empire. And why did they choose that as well is because Guerlain always put a really high focus on the sustainable development, and the bees are really a symbol of that. If you protect the bees, you protect the ecology, everything. Really, it's a lot to talk about, to be honest, but there's so many things Guerlain does still now about sustainable development and ecology and ethics also, that this is part of their symbol. which I didn't know at the beginning. I really thought it was just a symbol of royalty. The Pierre-François Pascal becomes with his family the official perfumer of the aristocracy and also the emperor. So it's basically like winning an Oscar now. After that, he became to be really well known in the high society, and he started to create for Queen Victoria herself and also the Queen of Spain, who is Queen Isabella? Yeah, Isabella too. Unfortunately, in 1864, Pierre-François Pascal passed away, so he's giving the legacy of the brand to his two sons, Aimé and Gabriel. So they divided the house between them, and Aimé will be the master perfumer and Gabriel will be managing. If you don't know, Aimé Guerlain created some of the most iconic fragrances before, kind of vintage that we don't know a lot now, but really iconic fragrance. You had Fleur d'Italie in 1884, you had Rococo in 1887, Eau de Cologne in 1894, and finally in 1889 there was Jiki. So Jiki, for sure, everybody knows that, and Jiki was actually the juice that created the DNA of the House of Guerlain. Any other fragrance, I will tell you all after, is related to Jiki. It was actually very iconic because Jiki was the first fragrance to be described as a perfume, because before it was really natural ingredient together and that's it, and so it was more like a scent or an eau de cologne, very refreshing because it was not lasting very well. But because of the mix of synthetic ingredient and natural ingredient in Jiki, it started to create something that is called a fragrance. So that's why a fragrance will always be like those mix of technology and natural. For me, it needs always to be a good balance. So then after that, after this generation go through, it's going well for Guerlain, and there's a third generation that is coming, and is the son of Gabriel that are actually taking over Guerlain. It's Jacques and Pierre Guerlain. So Jacques, obviously, the name are really like related to their family. They're really attached to their family and the history in the family, so they choose names that was used before in the family, which I find fascinating. Jacques will be the master perfumer, and again Pierre will be kind of more managed. What did create Jacques? Mouchoir de Monsieur in 1904, Après l'Ondée in 1906, Mitsuko, what a beautiful fragrance, in 1919, and Shalimar, of course, in 1925, Vol de Nuit in 1933, and Aude in 1955. So Jacques is really the grandson of Pierre-François Pascal. He's creating like really scents that are really related to their own DNA and having the same talent in that industry. Shall we go back to 1921? I really want to talk quickly about Shalimar because for me it's one of the most iconic fragrances. That was kind of the same area of number 5 and everything, very iconic fragrance ones here. The specificity of Shalimar is it was something never smelled before because it was so complex, like number 5 for example, but this one much more oriental based. It had really this exotic touch that no other fragrance had. That's why it makes such a great revolution. There's a little story behind that, which is one of the most beautiful stories in the perfumery. And when you create a fragrance, you need, it's not just like little note that you put together. It needs to have a story, something that is gonna get you emotional, or something that the public will get relate to and feel it. When I know the story of a fragrance, I feel much more connected, and I choose the fragrance for an occasion that is slightly similar to the inspiration. This fragrance was created because of an inspiration of Mumtaz Mahal. She was the wife of Shah Jahan, and Shah Jahan was the emperor of India. Mumtaz was a very respectable woman in the high society in India, as she was very smart, very clever, very polite. She had everything that was meaning the word of elegance. She was a very cultured lady. She was speaking different language like Arabic, Persians. She was also a poet. She was writing poems. And she was very modest lady. What was really unique at the time, especially with such an amount of knowledge and power. It was in the 17th century, it's a true story by the way. She was used to travel a lot with her husband. They were traveling everywhere for political reason or everything. She was always wanted to follow him. Even for him, she was the third wife, but he always said that it was the one that he loves the most. They were really soulmates. She felt connected with him. They were really connected. They had 14 children, so it was really the wedding of love, profusion of passion. And she, even after like those 14 children, apparently she was loving her husband so much, and he was living for her as well. And one day, so this love story was known everywhere, and one day unfortunately Mumtaz is dying. She passed away. Shah is falling in pieces. It's a disaster for him. He goes in a even if it's the emperor, he goes in a retreat somewhere alone to recover, and when he comes back he decided to give the order to build the Taj Mahal. So he wanted to give a final resting to his wife, and always to remember of her. So the Taj Mahal, you have a lot of places where you can see the light crossing the crystals and the glasses, and this is really a reminder of how the bottle of Shalimar is shaped. So that's exactly what Jacques wanted to translate in his fragrance. He wanted to translate something that is never dying, and something that would be always living, and this idea of transparency, opulence, keeping that modesty to a fragrance. So yeah, so that's really an iconic fragrance, still now an iconic fragrance, and I'm really enjoying still seeing Shalimar everywhere, because it really deserves its place. And then after that, after Jacques, we have a fourth generation. It's a generation that we know a bit more because it's Jean-Paul, and he created Vetiver in 1959. That was remastered after, but yeah, Vetiver still. And then you have Habit Rouge in 1965, of course, and Chamad and Samsara in 1999. So big fragrance that we still know now. I absolutely love Samsara. It makes me think like a powerful queen, very oriental, and again you've got this oriental touch all in the fragrance, and I think it's so nice. It really has that exotic, mysterious vibe all in, especially the ladies' fragrance. Jean-Paul in 2002 decided to retire, become advisor of the brand until 2010. So even if the brand was taken over by LVMH in 1994, the family of Guerlain still had an eye and advice on what was the fragrance done and what was the way the brand was going. People that are saying that the family of Guerlain decided to leave Guerlain, it was a bit less better. I don't agree, because they've done a really nice little transition, and we need to not forget that after, for example, Jean-Paul, 2 years after, in 1996, there's Olivier Polge that created fragrance for Guerlain, and we have Champs-Élysées that is still a good classic and really nice fragrance that was created after and was still good. And we need to remember also of all the AQUA Allegoria, especially in the 1990s, the Guerlain was leaving some perfumer trying to be creative in their brand, and we had Mathilde Laurent that created Pampelune, which is one of the best for me of the AQUA Allegoria. And finally, in May 28, we have Thierry Vasseur that is taking over Guerlain, and that will be the in-house perfumer. Also, we need to not remember that we have Sylvain Delacourte as well, as an artistic director as well, and Sylvain that has now her own fragrance that are apparently amazing. I can't wait to try. So really, it's even after the house of Guerlain was leaving to different hands, it was really people with talent and professionalism that's still holding the brand, and that you can really tell. Still now, like I can, like the house for me is as qualitative as it was before. And even when they remastered Vetiver from Guerlain, I was so happy. I mean, it was still nice, the DNA is still here for me, that was still really good. And now, like, Guerlain is trying to live with that time by reducing carbon footprint, and also working on eco-design and things like that, and they're really into that. If you don't know about what they're doing for the planet and everything, I will highly, because it's a very vast subject, so I'm not going to go inside of this, but you can go to that website. They explain that very well, and I saw it was really nice, especially when you're a big group like that. You have the money, you have the time to do it, and you need to lead by example. Now let's go to my top 5 fragrances. So it's time to show you my favorite scent from Guerlain. If you know me a little bit from my channel, you probably know what are my favorite scents. But anyway, let me guide through to it. It's been quite difficult to choose because there's so many that I really enjoy, that I won't put in this list, but I love, like for example Jiki, Mitsuko, things like that, the good vintage fragrance that I absolutely enjoy. Still really pretty. There's one also from their exclusive range that I I really enjoy is Tonka something. I've tried it a few times now and I'm like, I really like it. So I'm thinking to get it more for winter, but I need to familiarize again myself more with this fragrance. But let me show you what I currently have and what I really enjoy. First of all, when I was younger, Guerlain was not really the house I used to go for, unless Shalimar that I always had, that I really enjoy, but it was not always my house because it was really trendy at the moment to have La Petite Robe Noire and things like that, and I was not really keen on things like that because everybody was wearing it and I was willing to wear something more unique and not as girly, because at the time I kind of didn't want to have that very girly vibe. So the first one I really love since a long time now, Terracotta, and this is Le Parfum. So I really loved it since really young now because it's the perfect summer scent for me. Definitely much more for ladies. It's a bit more flowery, it's got really a warm ladylike vibe, I would say, and I always enjoyed it to smell that a lot of tiare flowers, and it smells like you just apply a body cream that smells a bit mono-like, and then it really looks like you're on holiday around the beach or next to a swimming pool or something. When I wear it, it's really when it's really warm outside and I want something that smells very sultry and sunny, and I wear like something a bit like more trendy, and you know, this kind of feel-good scent that I absolutely love. And it's very powdery, it's got a very strong sillage, and I think for me it's the perfect scent for ladies for summer. I would always get a bottle. You can see I'm at the end, but I'm gonna rebuy another one for sure really soon. Number 4 is a range, and is the range of the AQUA Allegoria fragrances. So I do have Coconut Fizz that I've done a little review on it, and Coconut Fizz is really nice because it's not the usual sweet coconut you used to. It's much more like a watery scent. It's very cool, it's not warm, it's cooling you, and it's really like a wet kind of smell with water fruit and the coconut water. So it's not like a vanilla like water or something like very extremely sweet. It's more something like really refreshing, cooling down with a very low sillage, I would say. It's very like a skin scent, and this is why I really enjoy it. And talking about the AQUA Allegoria, is one of the range I really enjoy, especially when it's a bit warmer. You've got Herbra Fresca that is more like a garden like fragrance, a bit more greener, that I really enjoy. I used to have Flora Nymphaea that is now discontinued, that it used to be my favorite from the range. It's like a very flowery scent with a lot of honey. That's really the DNA of the brand. And you've got Pampelune that is for me Pampelune that is something for me one of the best of the range, because it's got that very juicy freshness, quite heavy in the juice I would say, which is so nice. And you've got all of them got a little touch that is similar to each other, a bit like more there's this touch of honey that only Guerlain knows how to do it, and I think it's beautiful. Number 3, of course, if you know me, I won't like leave the house without my Vetiver from Guerlain. This is basically my casual chic scent. So sometimes when I don't want to overdress, I'm just wearing a white t-shirt, a jeans or something like that, I would wear that. I think on a lady it looks like very without effortless fragrance, but very classy. Like, you know, I think for me classy is not showing a lot, it's like something like very natural and soft, and this is what I like. And I'm a huge fan of Vetiver scent, and this one is quite special because it's got a slight I would say vintage touch, and it's a happy Vetiver. Usually Vetiver is so dry, this one is very uplifting, lots of fruits, citrus, and it's really inviting, funny, and it gives like a very like nice mood, I would say. On a man this is definitely good with, I would say, a suit as well, because it gives that very classic chicness and elegance. But even like just like a scent that you want to wear when it's a bit warmer and you don't want to have something like too much thinking, this is beautiful, and I feel this is the perfect friend for every day. The second one that I really love is Santal Royal from Guerlain. So this is part of the exclusive range, this one, and it's really like a sandalwood for queens and kings. It's what I really enjoy is usually on sandalwood scent, it smells like a sharpened pencil, just like you're scratching the wood and slightly burning feeling. I get more with this one, sandalwood that is very heavy and dark and powerful and very like a deep, warm, addictive scent. It's really like a tough sandalwood, I would say, and that's what I really enjoy again. It's a bit more brutal than a usual sandalwood, and it's a bit incensey as well to me, so it's very like a mysterious vibe that I really love. So it gives me a lot of confidence, and for me will stay one of the sexiest scents I ever smelled. I think it's all in classiness as well, in a bubble of politeness, this fragrance with this powdery feeling, so that's why I enjoy it so much. And it's funny because when I went to the Guerlain store, you have a little experience that allows you to they ask you some question and then they give you your scent, the one that matches you. I had 3 choices for me. It was Shalimar de Souffle de Parfum, Bois Mystérieux and Santal Royal. And I really agree with that. The first one is Shalimar from Guerlain. I couldn't, you know, I've told you the story. I think it's so cute and so beautiful that when I'm wearing this fragrance, I really feel charged with that passion in the fragrance. And also it's an oriental scent that will never be dated. Like, no matter you smell it now, it smells still very modern. And when you smell other oriental from that age, you can really tell this a bit vintage vibe. With Shalimar, not at all. Like, it's something that crossed the era really easily, like a number 5 fragrance, I would say. And that's why I feel it's nice, and it's also not that much heavy. It's really like a transparent glass. There's always a bit of light into Shalimar that gives a very opulent brightness, which is so nice. And what I've seen recently is like Chris from Fragmental, I've seen that he was wearing it, and I was really happy about that because it's not usual when men are taking over ladies' classics, and I think it's beautiful because we do take the men's classic into our wardrobe, like Terre d'Hermès, for example. And men's don't do it that much, but it's really flattering for them. And you can see now in niche fragrance how we use more the flowers into the male sections, and I would say this one is like a floral oriental, so it definitely can match a lot of people, and I'm sure it's suiting him very well. So I think it's amazing to do that. So that's why it's my favorite scent and will always be from Guerlain. So that was my top 5 fragrances very quickly. I hope you did enjoy the video. I hope you did learn something. Leave me a little comment if you did so, and also I would be happy to read you as always. Please subscribe to my channel if you liked it and you want to support me, and I will see you very soon. Bye now.